us. I'm going to call the meeting for Wednesday, July 22nd to order at 5:15. On this end, we're going to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, thank you for joining us. Mr. Zerwell, would you please conduct a roll call?
Certainly. Mr. Castine.
Present.
Mr. Conroy.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mr. McGill.
Present.
Mr. Perrier.
Here.
Mr. Potiker.
Here.
Mr. Rosenquist. Mr. Timmons.
Here.
Ms. Waldron.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
All right, thank you very much. We are fortunate again that we have Congresswoman Elise Stefanik with us. She's down in D.C. They're in session. I believe she's between votes. We're, as I say, fortunate. She is going to join us tonight, give us some information, and answer any questions we may have. So with no further ado, as they say, Congresswoman Stefanik, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Chairman Henry, and thanks, as always, to our Clinton County legislators for the opportunity to just give a brief update. I am in the cloakroom right now, actually, right off the House floor. We're in the middle of an amendment vote series, but I wanted to give an update on the COVID package. I know there are a number of priorities for Clinton County. Number one is the state and local funding. I still feel very strongly that we will have robust local and municipal funding that will go directly to the county as well as towns, villages, and cities. I know how important that is. Number two, school districts. So the current package that we're negotiating will have $105 billion for direct aid to education and school districts I know our superintendents are working very hard in the process of putting forth proposals to safely ensure that our students continue learning and start the school year with a particular focus on making sure that we're meeting the needs of those with special needs and disabilities. I also am in touch with our higher ed institutions, obviously very important to Clinton County and really across the district, making sure that we're in touch about their needs. They already have gotten significant federal aid. I anticipate there will be additional aid in this package. Testing delays, I've been in touch with CDCH and some of the other folks at the County Public Health Department. I know there has been slight delays in the testing turnaround, which we had really in a very fast place for quite some time. The federal government in this next package is likely to have increased funding for testing capacity, as we have in previous packages, just to make sure that the resources, the labs, all of the parts of the process of testing have the funding that they need. We have some really, really exciting news regarding vaccines, which are moving along in their trials in terms of the phases. This will be the fastest vaccination development, I believe, in the history of not only the U.S., but just in global history, and really, really innovative and promising vaccination findings that was presented before Congress this week. So we know how important that is to ultimately combating and beating COVID. The border issues, we continue to have those important conversations across the border. Obviously, I share the disappointment of the further delay. The Canadians are very concerned about the process of reopening the border. We are advocating for a gradual reopening on a bipartisan basis because we know how important that cross-border trade is to our region. And with that, I'll give it back to you, Mark, and happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you. You had my question on your very first one on the state and local aid. As you say, that is going to be extremely important to our county, to all counties, I'm sure. So that was mine. Michael, do you have one?
Chairman, just on the, and Elise, thank you for joining on the same topic of timing. As you know, the counties that you represent are formulating their 2021 fiscal plans, and the sooner we get some guidance federal government, the easier it will be for, the decisions will be much clearer on the local government end. So I appreciate your continued work on state and local assistance. This obviously, from our perspective, is as far from a political conversation as possible. We're simply struggling, and any assistance would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, let me comment on the timing piece. The next 3 weeks, so we are literally in the midst of negotiations right now. Both the Senate leadership, House leadership, and the White House have been meeting. We have been meeting. We're at the table in terms of advocating for the need of state and local funding. 3 weeks is, actually, it should be 2 weeks. I'm saying 3 because potentially it may slip into that first week of August. But this is supposed to be wrapped up before the end of before the end of July. So that clarity, I know, is very, very important to have an accurate fiscal outlook and picture.
Thank you for that. I was also gratified to see, obviously, for education, that's an important piece for everybody, and particularly for our local schools and for Clinton Community College. That college is important to us, and hopefully something can be done there. So thank you very much for that as well. Does anybody have any other questions for the Congresswoman? Quiet. Well, hearing nothing, ma'am, unless you have something more, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yes,
we
thank you.
Talking to you again.
Absolutely, and anybody, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, everybody, for all the work that you're doing.
Yes, and thank you very much for what you're doing. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Elise.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Just as a point, while Elise was, as a point to bring up of notification information for y'all, on August 12th meeting, Assemblyman Jones, Billy Jones will be joining us. He'll call in to give us an update. You may all know that he was recently appointed as co-chair of the Cross-Border Committee, Canada and the U.S., so he may have some insights for us there, and also give you an opportunity to ask the Assemblyman any questions you may have. So Assemblyman Jones will be with us on the August 12th meeting. Okay, is there anything further before we move on? All right, all legislators have received a copy of the stenographer's minutes of the July 8th, 2020 regular session. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion from Rick Potiker. I have a second from
Miguel.
Francis. We got it from Francis. We got a second from Francis. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
So, Chairman, as a point of order, Legislator Rosenquist has joined us in case folks on can't see him. So
He's here.
So we have a full complement of the board.
Thank you for that. Tonight, our meeting format will not be having public comment this afternoon. However, members of the public are welcome to express their concerns or comments by emailing us at legislature@clintoncountygov.com. That's legislature@clintoncountygov.com. We will now go to the committee reports. Each legislator chairs one of the 10 standing committees, and I will call on the chairperson of each committee in alphabetical order by committee, starting with Buildings and Grounds, Legislator Perrier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Building and Grounds Committee was polled on resolution number 427, which is included on tonight's agenda. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, August 10th at 4:30 p.m. End of report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next, Children and Family Services, Legislator Potiker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next Children and Family Services Committee is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, August 4th at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Next, Economic Development and County Operations, Legislator Rosenquist, with us here.
Thank you, sir. Before I start, I do want to apologize for my tardiness and the way I'm dressed. I had connection issues at the cafe and had to rush over here, so I appreciate your patience. The Economic Development and County Operations Committee met last week, primarily to discuss the Imperial Dam. I know that there has been a lot of discussion on the dam, and it is appreciated. The presentation made by the DEC, several members that came to represent different areas in the DEC, Trout Unlimited, the owner of or the manager of the dam, and also a partner in hydropower. So, I understand that there's a lot of concern and a lot of waiting to figure out what's next for us. The memorializing resolution has not been put forth after that meeting. There have been some committee members that have expressed interest to viewing both the outside of the dam, the earthen part of the dam, and the concrete part, as well as touring the inside to see where the hydropower could be generated. So right now I'm just waiting on the manager of the Imperial Dam to provide some dates for us to go view that, and then I'll coordinate that with the office here. The resolution 428 has been included on tonight's agenda at the recommendation of the committee, and the next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, August 11th at 5 p.m. End report.
Thank you very much. Finance, Legislator Timmons.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee was polled on Resolution 429, and the next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, August 5th at 6:15 p.m. End of report.
Mr. Chairman and Legislator Timmons, as I think I mentioned to you in an email today, it will be, I think, the goal to try to have that Finance Committee in person. That is going to require a lot of monitoring of the number of people in the chamber and spreading everybody out. But I believe our our auditors may be here to present. So we are going to try to accommodate that finance meeting in the legislative chambers in person. More to follow on that, but I just wanted to make people aware.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anything to add on that, Rob, before I move on?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, thanks. Health, Legislator Waldron.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Our next Health Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, August 4th at 4:30 p.m.
Legislator Waldron, I've got Director Canosa here to provide some health updates on the COVID crisis.
Yes, Mr. Sherlow, thanks for the update. Mr. Canosa, could you please step up and let us know what's going on? Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Good to see you all again. I'll give you just a few updates for today. I'm happy to report, as Michael reminded me, our number's been at 125 for 3 days, and it does look like it's going to a fourth day tomorrow. I just got an update for the evening. We have 125 total to date lab-confirmed positive cases. It's been pretty steady at that. Anticipate ups and downs like this. Holding steady at zero is always the best, but that's not always going to work out that way, especially with all the testing that the hospital is doing. We have 118 of those 125 that are fully recovered as of now. We're sitting on 4 active cases. Total tested today, 16,400 in Clinton County. That's quite amazing. Big credit goes to the hospital. As you know now that we have our travel procedures, our nurses and our contact tracing group are tracking them on a daily basis that come through the airport. We have enlisted the help of a virtual contact tracing team from the state of New York, and they're slowly coming up to speed to assist us with monitoring and communication with those travelers. We want them doing just that while we take care of our residents here that, haven't been part of the traveling group, if you will. The CVPH has started slowly with a soft opening last week into this week, their state testing site at the Hannaford Plaza. I will get you the specific days and times when they're doing that. They've started rather just 2 days a week for a couple hours a day, and they're getting ready to ramp that up. Hopefully the 2 days a week, 4 hours a day, maybe more days a week as we see the need to do it. It is a state-sponsored test site, so the state is paying for the testing and all of the PPE that goes with it. The hospital's got a backlog of stuff like right now that they have on hold for that use. So whoever wants to get tested should be no cost into the future. So that will keep going. Also, our contact tracing team has been having some really good fortunes lately of tracking our public who have direct contacts with other COVID patients. It's been working well. Our public is doing a great job of minimizing gatherings. Whenever we have to track people, we're finding out we only have to track 4 to 8 people. Back in the old days, in February and March, we were tracking as many as 20 people per positive patient. So that tells you that the public is paying attention. It's a good thing. Maybe not as well as we could all hope, but they're doing a really good job. Our environmental health and safety staff is working on pause complaints, and we've really ramped up reaching out to those complaints that we receive and trying to nail them down as quick as we can, especially for the repeat offenders. We've been very fortunate with the control rooms reach out to the state with regard to stewards, the complaints, people not wearing masks there, as well as Walmart. Walmart somewhat improved, stewards is greatly improved. We're now going to start working on places like the Dollar General. A lot of the stores, right after Walmart started implementing the face mask policy that you must wear, a lot of other stores like Target, Kohl's, jumped on board with that. Aldi's was doing it right from the beginning. So, we're hoping that we can keep this going and move that needle in that direction where we're seeing better and better compliance with the mask wearing. I'm meeting with the CVES school superintendents this Friday to help them wherever I can on their safety plans as a group at the CVES headquarters off of Military Turnpike. We're also hoping to do future press conferences with the schools. We have school reopenings coming up, as you know, in end of August, September. The timing is right. They're on our table now in terms of their backs are up against the wall, and they're going to need to reach out to not only their students, the students' parents, but also our communities where the students are coming up here. So numerous fronts, CVES, SUNY Plattsburgh, as well as Clinton Community College. So we're working positively in that direction. Finally, Mike reminded me we've just started a Mask Up campaign for social media, and it's really working like gangbusters with all of our partners right now. United Way, a lot of our other partners are signing up to be part of this, basically to take a photograph of a person with a mask and a sign in front of them that says, "I wear a mask to protect my family," or "my co-workers," or something like that. So we're hoping this takes off in a positive PR direction. So that's pretty much it for me. Am I missing anything?
No,
Okay.
no, that's all I got. Any questions for John while he's here? Yes.
Yeah. Can you comment on Meadowbrook's recent compassionate care plan and their announcement of an against medical advice forum for their patients and family visiting?
For the family visiting, well, they are probably the most conservative. They're one of the largest facilities that we have around here, so they tend to be the most conservative. I don't know that they're allowing any visitors right now. I haven't heard that from Paul Richards up there, so I don't know what. Do you have any more details on that, Chris?
So I just got a message that said with an immediate release that was on the 22nd, which is today, that they're instituting a compassionate care plan, which essentially allows families to come sign out their care patients as long as the family and the patient themselves, or I don't know what to call them, they sign an against medical advice, which essentially just says, look, against our advice, you can go if you want to, and you can hang out with your family.
Right. But there will be rules with it. In other words, you make your way to the patient's room, you stay in the room, you stay masked up, you can be with that person. So the hospital has a very similar visitation plan like that. Very limited capacity, not a lot of no frolicking allowed at the hospital, no visits to the cafeteria. It's very specific. You're there for a purpose. Go see your loved one. Limited amount of time. Oh, done. So that's a positive way. Those guys run a tight ship up there. So I'm very impressed with what they do.
All right, thanks. Anything further for John? sir.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you,
John.
John.
Human Services, Legislator Conroy.
Yes, the next Human Services meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, August 5th at 5:15.
Thank you. Personnel, I'll take care of that. The Personnel Committee was pulled on resolution number 443, which is under Waive Rule 13.2. I believe you all have those in your packet. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, August 3rd at 4 p.m. That's the end of my report for personnel. We will move on to Plattsburgh International Airport and Legislator Hall. Mr. Hall? Okay. It looks like Bob may have dropped off, so we're gonna skip over him and come back. We will go to Public Safety with Legislator Castine.
Okay, I'll unmute. Resolution
No, you're good.
Resolution 433 has been pulled and placed on tonight's agenda. The next Public Safety Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, August 3rd at 6 p.m. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, sir. Transportation, Legislator McGill.
Yes. Transportation Committee met on Monday, July 13th. James Bosley and the planning technician discussed the request to bring a foldable shopping cart onto the CCP bus. Resolutions 434 through 436 and 438 have been placed on tonight's agenda for the Highway Department. Resolution 437 has been withdrawn. Resolution 444 has been placed on the agenda under Waive Rule 13.2. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, August 10th at 5:15. End of report. Yep, Legislator McGill, I can confirm that the Planning Department did communicate the discussion at the Transportation Committee with the gentleman who raised the question on the shopping cart, and informed him of the plan, which is to use to research the ability to use some of that capital grant money, that only can be used for the bus system, to potentially construct some sort of, or purchase some sort of cart which would house the shopping cart, and he was pleased with the discussion and the result. So more to follow, but at this point, the gentleman who made the request is happy.
Anything else?
I'm happy that he's happy.
Thank you. Anything else on transportation before I move on? Is Bobby with us? There he is. I see you,
I
Bob.
wouldn't dare.
Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. Bob, are you ready to, Legislator Hall, are you ready to give your Plattsburgh International Airport report?
Yes, I am, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Gotta get back to where we were together. Okay. Plattsburgh International Airport Committee met on the 20th, and we talked about the COVID-19 at the airport, and everything's going good. The people are coming off the airplanes and filling out the forms that they're supposed to. We did have an episode with an individual the other morning. Had a few too many cocktails, and the airline would not let him board, and he was taken away by the sheriff's department. But at the same time, he was not from Plattsburgh, so he was headed back to Florida. Outside of that, everything else is about the same. They're still canceling flights, but our flights overall are still doing fairly well. So that's all good news. Our next meeting is for August 26th, and that's the end of the report. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Legislator Hall. We'll move on to liaison reports quickly. Board of Health, no report. John Canosa handled that very well. We will move to Chamber of Commerce and Legislator Rosenquist. No report. Clinton Community College, no report. Okay, Community Service Board, Legislator Conroy.
Chairman, I apologize.
Go ahead.
And Legislator Rosenquist, I have been in email communication with the president, and it looks as though they're trying to accommodate our September, a little later than normal, because of the current situation, but a September Finance Committee presentation. He and I are discussing the fiscal situation at the college as well as the fiscal situation of the county.
Okay, thank you. Community Services Board, Legislator Conroy.
No report.
Thank you. Cooperative Extension, Legislator Timmons.
The meeting was canceled this month, but we did have a finance meeting starting to look at budgetary numbers, and I informed them that we could be possibly looking at a 20% drop in county funding because of everything that's going on. Obviously, it's a tight number, and it's certainly going to make a difference in what they can do. I certainly hope that Elise is correct in that we will get funding and maybe not make it, to a full 20%, but we are planning at numbers at that point, and we'll see what we can get accomplished with it.
All right, thank you. Kim, Discipline Review and Grievance, we have nothing, right? Nothing on those. Intercounty, Legislator Waldron.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we will be having our first physical meeting tomorrow since January, I believe, and it will be in Greenwich, New York. So NISAC will be updating us, and I'll have more to say about that next meeting.
All right.
End of report.
Okay, thank you. You're up again with LC and LG. Anything there, Legislator Waldron?
Actually, I was unable to make the meeting yesterday, so I will have a full report when I get the minutes. I apologize for that.
Okay, thank you. Soil and Water, Legislator Perrier Timmons.
This month's meeting was canceled.
No. Workforce Development Board, Legislator Rosenquist. No report. Okay. Anything to add on there before we move? Do the staff members have any report?
Yes,
Jackie?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to request a brief executive session this evening to talk about a lawsuit that was recently filed against the county relating to the construction at the airport.
Okay. Mr. Zerlo.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I was going to take the opportunity to update everybody on the federal negotiation, but the Congresswoman did a far better job than I would have. Suffice to say, we're still keeping our fingers crossed. As we begin to give budget packets out in the beginning of August to the department heads, that discussion is going to be contingent upon any word we receive from the federal government. So, secondly, I want to just bring everybody up to speed. You have read in the newspaper, and I've reported to you about the positive tests at the Clinton County Nursing Home. Both a resident and a staff person. I'm pleased to report that all subsequent tests have been negative. The subsequent test on the original positive is negative. The 15 tests that were deemed to be in close contact with that person are negative. A second test of the staff person who was in quarantine is negative. So the public health, the smart people in the public health arena say you can't discount a positive test, but everything we have seen has been negative. One could surmise that there may have been a blip in the testing on the original testing, but regardless, currently there is no COVID at the Clinton County Nursing Home.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions for Mike? All right. I don't have a report.
Why is Mike so negative?
you know that's the way he is. I don't have any report tonight. Everybody's done really well. Elise touched on some of the things I was going to talk about, and then John Canosa hit all the rest. So I've got nothing tonight. So we're going to move to the resolutions. Before voting on the resolutions, I want to note that a majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees, and the legislature is taking action tonight based in large part on the recommendation of those committees. Mr. Zerlo, would you please read the resolutions to be acted on?
Certainly, Chairman. Resolution 427, authorizing contract with Carrier Corporation Buildings and Grounds.
Motion, Legislator Perrier, second, Legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier? Francis, are you muted?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 428, approving reappointment and term adjustments for appointments to the Saranac River Trail Greenway Board of Directors, Planning Department.
Motion, Legislator Rosenquist, second, Legislator Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 429, authorizing contract amendment with Casella Waste Management of New York, purchasing.
Motion, Legislator Timmons, second, Legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 430, authorizing New York State Department of Transportation Aviation Capital Project Grant application for Building 2753, Modernization and Improvements Project, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Legislator Hall, second, Legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 431, authorizing contract with North Country Door Systems, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Legislator Hall, second, Legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 432, authorizing contract amendment with PM Leary, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, Legislator Hall, second, Legislator Timmons. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we had a discussion at Mr. Hall's committee regarding the opportunity for one of the county's furloughed employees to do this work upon his return to service, and it looks as though that will work out. So, Chris may not need to use the contract, and that was the desire of the committee when they had this discussion. We still should pass the resolution, in the off chance that he needs it, but it looks as though his own staff will be able to do this work.
Okay. All right. Anything further on that? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 433, amending Resolution 938 dated November 28, 2018, titled Authorizing Contract with Conica Minolta Premier Finance, Legislature.
Motion, Legislator Castine, second, Legislator McGill. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 434, awarding bid for the for tree removal services for the year 2020, highway.
Motion, Legislator McGill, second, Legislator Conroy. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 435, authorizing an engineering services agreement with Barton and LaJudas DPC for the replacement of County Road 1 Standish Road Bridge over Separator Brook. Bridge identification number 336-3270, Highway Department.
Motion, Legislator McGill, second, Legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 436, authorizing the purchasing agent to solicit bids for various materials and services as needed for the year 2021, highway.
Motion, Legislator McGill, second, Legislator Timmons. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 437 has been withdrawn. It was a duplicate. Resolution 438, authorizing 2019 and 2020 round of Federal Transportation Administration Section 5311 Consolidated Transit Grant Acceptance, Clinton County Public Transit.
Motion, legislator McGill. Second, legislator Conroy. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 439, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the 2020 Community Arts Grant, District Attorney's Office Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Timmons. Second, legislator Rosenquist. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 440, authorizing the county treasurer to adjust appropriation and corresponding revenue for the 2019 Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act various program grants, employment, and training.
Motion, legislator Timmons. Second, legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 441, authorizing the county treasurer to increase appropriation and corresponding revenue for the Women, Infants, and Children Program Grant Health Department.
Motion, legislator Timmons. Second, legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution 442, authorizing county treasurer to appropriate and transfer funding from the Tobacco Reserve Legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons. Second, legislator Castine. Discussion.
This just codifies the discussion that we had at our last meeting.
Yes. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried. I need a motion to waive Rule 13.2. May I have a motion? I have a motion from legislator Rosenquist. May I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from legislator McGill. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 443, approving creation of 2 temporary full-time motor vehicle license clerks, county clerk.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Hall. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 444, authorizing reopening of Clinton County Public Transit Services amid COVID-19 pandemic, Clinton County Public Transit.
Motion, legislator McGill. Second, legislator Poticher. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried.
And Resolution 445, authorizing community-oriented policing services hiring program funding grant acceptance, Sheriff's Department.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Hall. Discussion.
Yeah, Chairman, I just think it's incumbent upon me. Mr. Castine, Legislator Castine asked me to let everybody know, I know that you were polled on this resolution today, that due to time constraints, it was necessary to accept the resolution, whether or not we expend any money. So before we expend any money from this grant, communications need to be happening with school districts to ensure that the local share associated with this grant can be funded, by hopefully a combination of school districts, for school resource officers. Obviously, budgets are tight all around, but we needed to pass this resolution to be in the game, if you will, such that we have the ability to make decisions down the road.
Okay, thank you. Anything further on that? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Carried. Thank you. I believe that's the end of our resolutions. Does anyone have anything else further to come to the legislature before we ask for executive session?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I got cut off on Zoom before, so I wasn't with you folks. Mike, I wish you pass this on to John Canosa. Ryan Davies, who runs the health department as far as restaurants and and places go in the city of Plattsburgh is doing a fantastic job. They are making every effort to help businesses stay open, coming to the establishments, telling them what they can do, and trying to help them out to get things the right way. And they're just doing a great job. They're not discouraging owners; they're helping owners. And this has been a thing with the businesses in the city of Plattsburgh for a long time. They've always been very scared of the health department coming to their establishments. This is one time when John Canosa's crew and Ryan Davies especially is doing a fantastic job. And I wish you'd pass it on from me and a lot of other restaurant owners in the city of Plattsburgh, Mike, to John.
Certainly. Thank
Go
you,
ahead,
Bob.
yes, we absolutely will. Thank you, Bob, very much. Anything else?
Yeah, Mark?
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, Chris, when you do that tour, can I also be invited in on that?
Yeah.
Set it up, please.
I will certainly make sure that that invitation is sent up to the entire legislature, and then everybody is available, or at least informed when that tour is going to happen.
Okay. And do you know, will we be meeting anybody from DEC again, or has that discussion already been had?
Well, that discussion has been had, and the Dave Winchell from the DEC reached out and said, if you do want to have somebody from the DEC come and explain, maybe not advocate for one or the other, but to explain what we're looking at on the outside of the dam, both the earthen and the concrete part, they would be made available to do that.
Okay, that would be great, actually, I think. I apologize for missing the first meeting, but I certainly want to be informed on it.
No, I get it, and I know that we've gotten a lot of flack, I guess, input for, and I don't want to say prolonging this decision. I think it's certainly an important one, and I think it's more important for us to be informed and make an educated decision by looking at both sides of the issue, and then make a decision. So that's kind of where things are at right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything more?
Yeah, if I could be on that list as well, I'd like to go because it's in my area.
Sure, absolutely.
I think Legislator Miguel, Chris is going to make sure every legislator is invited.
Outstanding.
Okay. All right. Well, Calvin, do you have something? Yes.
I just wonder if there's any thought to having I know it's a lot more convenient not to have to travel to these meetings twice a month, but any thought to having our regular sessions in chambers in August?
Well, it depends what the governor has, so I'll let Michael address it.
We like I said, sir, we are shooting for an August 5th Finance Committee meeting in chambers. It's going to require just a stricter monitoring of the of the people that are in the room, the occupancy of the room. The meeting is certainly within the number of people authorized by the state of New York. That's not the issue. The issue is the proximity between people within the room. So, depending on how many people are in attendance and how we'll be monitoring that, I think a good barometer will be at the Finance Committee meeting on the 5th, and then the goal obviously is to be back in person. So the answer to your question is yes, possible.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Starting to sound like a politician, Mike.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session. I have a motion from Legislator Rosenquist. I have a second from Legislator Timmons. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're going into executive session. Stand by. In a minute.
Oh, we just got to check with David.
Motion to adjourn?
Not yet. Excellent idea, though, Legislator.
We're live, Jim.
We're good? Okay, we're back in regular session. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. I have a motion from Legislator Rosenquist. Do I have a second? I have a second from Legislator
Second.
Hall. Well, Mr. Hall beat you to it. Sure. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
And you scared me there for a minute. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.